Welcome to round 9. I'm in the back half of my lead up to my 16 movie King of the Ring. Made it through my first 8, and now here I am at the second, the second 8, and got a doozy here. There's another one that's just a wide range of different types of movies. Freaking excited to get this one underway, so just gonna throw them in the ring here and do talking once I eliminate movies. First up, I have The Black Mass. Tenebrae. Land of the Lost. And then this is a Arrow Video 4-pack here. And I'm putting all 4 of them in. I watched all 4 of these back to back to back, basically. And I'll stand that up for a sec because, 1 second, sorry, I dropped the cool poster that I'll show. I'll show the poster now while I still have them out here. So you got your one side here, which is really nice and cool. And then you got your cover art of the box set on this side. Really cool. This is a 4 Western collection. It also comes with a really nice booklet that tells you all about all 4 movies in the set. And gives you details on them. Let me get rid of that. And the 4 movies, which were first time watches for me, is Vengeance is Mine, $10,000 Blood Money, Find a Place to Die, Metallo Kill Him, Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay, Squirm, The Hills Have Eyes Part 2, Mother's Day, The Spider Labyrinth, Nosferatu, Thinner, Pearl, Chopping Mall. Love that title. X, Minority Report, and last for this battle is High Plains Drifter. It's a frickin' doozy. So this is a Western heavy one here. I got 5 Westerns, and Westerns is probably my least watched genre, so it's why there's a lot of them in this one, because I was just like, you know what, I need to start watching some of these. And so I went on a splurge. First I watched this box set, and then I was in a Westerns mood, so I watched High Plains Drifter, and then I also watched about 4 or 5 more movies that will probably be in my next Battle Royal. So, first up here, my first elimination is from MVD Visual, and it is called The Black Mass. I gave this a half a star, And it's not that it's not creepy. Like, it does have a creepy premise. It feels like... well, here's the thing. It's a Ted Bundy movie. And the whole movie, you're seeing through the eyes of Ted Bundy. And I just found it to be very uncomfortable. It is, like, creepy because of that reason. But it's also a little too sexualized for my liking. Some people might love it for that reason, but in a movie where you're dealing with real characters that actually did horrendous things to people, I feel like over-sexualizing the females before he does what he does to them is a little bit too much. Like, it's like, I don't know. It's just not for me. Some people might love it. I don't really understand how or why you would love to see stuff like that. I know that's controversial to say here, especially in the horror community, but, like, I love horror movies. But I'm never a huge fan of the ones that fetishize the real life acts. Like, this one is based, like, Ted Bundy actually did horrible things to women, and so to see through his eyes as he's spying on them while they're showering, and then the camera's slowly panning up their asses and showing their boobs and sexualizing the shit out of them, and then just to have him do what he's going to do to them, it's a little too much. Like, just have him actually do the killings. Why are you prepping you up? Like, I'm not a fan of it. I think it's a little bit nasty. I think it does the families of the victims probably mental harm. Like, I couldn't imagine if that happened to one of my family members, and then somebody made a movie where you're, like, portraying my daughter in a sexual way right before she's, like, raped and fucking eaten and brutalized, and it's weird. So, I give it a half star. And with that said, the kills are very uncomfortable. Some people might actually really like this if you can just turn off everything I just said about it and just watch it as a regular serial killer movie. It's actually pretty solid. It's not that bad. But yeah, that one's getting eliminated and put into my collection for good. Probably not watch that one again. And then next up at number 19, I have The Hills Have Eyes 2 from Wes Craven. This bumps up to a 1.5 stars from me. And it's basically for one reason, because I find this movie to be just terrible, to be honest. Like, this would be another 0.5 star when it comes to quality, storyline, acting. Like, it's all just a massive shit the bed moment for Wes Craven, who I think is an unbelievable horror movie director. But this one it's just silly. And what does it come with here? It doesn't come with anything. It's just the Blu-ray. It does have the classic original art on the inside, though. Just that classic stuff there. And to be honest, the only reason why this is even a 1.5 is because of the flashback scenes. Find it quite hilarious that just how many flashbacks he ends up putting in this movie. I didn't do a final count, I should have, but basically every single character in the movie has a flashback scene where it's just showing you clips from the first movie. And it's a weird way to go, because first off, why would you be watching this one if you didn't watch the first one? So you're treating your audience like they're all stupid idiots by having to show them, remind them of what happened in the first movie. But then they deliver perhaps the greatest flashback scene in the history of movies. And it's with Beast, the dog. Because the dog looks at the camera at a moment and goes, and turns its head sideways. And then a little flashback comes and the dog's remembering what these people did to Beauty in the first movie. That gives it a whole star for me. So it's a half a star, but because of that one scene, it goes up to a star and a half, just because of that. And that's where it's sat, because like I've said, I start my movies at half stars when I start the movie, and then it just goes up as I'm watching. Well, that's as high as it got. It hit that whole moment, and I was like, okay, I'll give it an extra star here, because this moment's awesome. And then it just stayed at the same. So I just left it at a star and a half. But it's hard. It's hard because I don't like saying I don't recommend. I hate saying that I don't recommend a movie. But I do think you should watch it just for the ridiculousness of it and the fact that, like, I'm a completionist when I collect people. Like directors. So I want Wes Craven's entire collection. So this is one, but it would be down in the bottom for me. Oh, and next up here, at number 18, we have our first elimination from this Arrow Western collection. And this one's called Metallo, Kill Him. And this one I gave a 2.5 stars, so we jumped up another entire star. And it's kind of because of the cool score that's going on. It's just a typical Western. None of the characters I gave a shit about. I didn't really care about the story much. It just had a really cool score. Even on the back here it says, with a hypnotic acid rock infused score by Mario Magliardi. That's true. It feels like a drug induced score in a Western. Like, it's just pretty cool. It bumped it up. Like, it was sitting at about a 2 probably. I was like, yeah, this is okay. It's just a bunch of bandits. Everyone's a bad guy in this movie. And it's just these people are double crossing these people, and then there's double crosses within this group, and there's double crosses within this group, and it was confusing at moments. I was just like who the fuck is that character now? And so it didn't suck me in, but the score gives it a 2.5. Makes it a worthy addition. Glad I watched it. It does have some good violence in this one too, though. Bloody. But yeah, Metallo, Kill Him. There's alternate titles for all these movies as well. Obviously, because they're all Italian spaghetti westerns. But I'm just giving you the titles that the Arrow video box set gives you. Oh, next up at number 17. This might be blasphemy for some people, because I know that this movie's pretty beloved. I'm eliminating Mother's Day. This is another 2.5 for me. Middle of the road. This is a beautiful release from Vinegar Syndrome here. This is the slip cover. Really freaking nice slip cover on this. And then it's the 4K release as well. Which is, I recommend grabbing it, because honestly it looks awesome. It comes with the Blu-ray and the 4K on the inside. Does it come with reversible art? It does, but it's just what's on the slipcover there. So don't need to do that. This is a dirty, grimy, rapey 1980 movie. One of Eli Roth's favorite movies of all time. I've seen him in a few documentaries where he talks about this, like, inspiring him, basically. And I can see that. It feels really Eli Rothy. Make up my own words. Basically, it's just a twisted-ass mother who gives an outstanding performance. To be honest, she's the reason why this movie's a 2.5 for me and not, like, a 1.5. Because usually I'm not a fan of these rape revenge type movies. They lose points as soon as I know that that's what it is. It takes a while to dig itself out of its hole. It has to be pretty good for me in order to dig itself out of a hole. So a 2.5 for a rape revenge movie is actually pretty solid score for me. For other people that like that genre, it would probably be like a 4 or something. But basically, it's just two redneck sons, and they just do whatever their mother tells them, and their mother tells them to grab these girls and do horrendous acts to them. Things I can't even describe because I don't think you're allowed to say some of it on YouTube. But it's just brutal. And then they try to get their revenge. It's straightforward. It's a straightforward rape revenge movie. So I don't need to go into great detail other than to just say that the highlight of the movie is the mother's acting. She doesn't seem like she should be doing the role. Like, she just seems too nice. Like, or prestigious, I guess. It's weird. Kind of like Betsy Palmer in Friday the 13th. Like, it feels like she probably shouldn't be doing that role. It's the same kind of thing. But yeah, pick it up. Beautiful release, 4K from Vinegar. Number 16, I am eliminating a comedy here. This is Land of the Lost with Will Ferrell and, a few other people here. Danny McBride, obviously, on the cover. Anna Friel, that's the girl's name. I like this one a lot better when I first seen it. This is another 2.5. This was probably sitting at like a 3.5 the first time I seen it. So not great, not the greatest of all time, but it's just silly. Like, Will Ferrell they get sucked into dinosaur days, and basically there's just a T-Rex chasing them around the whole time, and there's a subplot with a bunch of, like, monkey people that ends up being kind of comical where that goes. And it's just a comedy. There's not a lot to describe. I'll give you a couple of my favorite parts. There's a part where there's a freaking, like, slug, or a mosquito. Is it a mosquito or some kind of, like, slug? Leech type thing on Will Ferrell's back. And you could see him getting, like, just the life sucked out of him. And he's like, there's something on my back. And he turns around, and it's his whole back is just this giant-ass leech thing. Slug. It's fucking gross. And then there's also a part where they touch this orb, and they sing Cher's Believe. Which is funny. I get... There's a few parts that I'm like, no laugh out loud moments, but a lot of giggles and, like, light laughs. If you want just some absolute ridiculous fun and just stupid comedy, this is definitely for you. You'll enjoy it. But it's getting eliminated in my number 16th place. It knocked out a couple there. But, yeah, just stupid fun. Oh, and number 15. My number 15 is this one right here from Severin Films. This is another 4K, actually. This is Spider Labyrinth. An Italian horror. I was really looking forward to watching this one, because all the descriptions on the back here, like, this is the best, I can't believe it's never been released, Italian horror film of all time. There's some good quotes here. A forgotten horror gem. If you've ever wondered what a Dario Argento's adaptation of the Lovecraft story would look like, here's your chance. I would agree with that, actually. Now, it's the first half of this movie that keeps this at a, like, 2.5 to 3 for me. Probably more of a 3. The first half, I'm just bored. Like, not much is happening. It's really heavy on the story. And the acting isn't very good. It's really, like, it really feels weak in the acting department. It's the best I can describe it. But then the second half nails it. Like, there's some practical effects in here that are just weird and disturbing shit. There's some cool stuff with the spider. It comes with the Blu-ray and the 4K. Cool part about this one for me, though, is that when I ordered it off Amazon, and I thought I just ordered the Blu-ray, but I got the 4K. I was like, oh, wow, I had to go back on my order, and apparently I ordered the 4K, so I was like, sweet, bonus, no reversible art. This is one that I'm going to have to give another watch to, because I always watch my movies in subtitles. I don't usually watch an English version unless I'm really not in the mood to read, because I'm usually not a fan of dubs. They kind of take me out of the experience. And I had a couple moments where I was starting to kind of feel lost in the movie. Like, it's kind of confusing at parts, and I'm not understanding. But like it says that, I'll give you a quick description on what it says here. For more than 3 decades, this remarkable debut feature and soul horror film by award-winning director Gianfranco Gianni has been one of the most elusive Italian horror titles in home video history until now. So it's a very sought-after, hard-to-get-your-hands-on movie. So that's nice that Severin gave it a 4K release, because, like, what better? And it looks great. Sounds great. And, yeah, it's just about a guy that's getting ensnared in a web of deceit and lies and sexualness and just insanity, basically. And I do like what happens at the end. It has a solid ending. Like, I would say that the 3 that I'm giving it is basically just because of the final act of the movie. Like, it gets going really quick. It comes with a shit ton of special features, though. Holy shit. Just tons. Making ofs and interviews with everybody and a lot of cool stuff. Stop motion. Some stop motion stuff there. But yeah, pick up Spider Labyrinth. Really cool. I think a lot of these got, like, nicer releases than this as well. Like, some of them have, like, a thick box and stuff. Not 100% positive on that, but I'm fine with just regular release. I'm all about just having the movie. Like, I love a nice box set. But when you collect as much as I do, money can get a little bit tight because you're buying everything. And so I'm okay with saving the money and just getting the regular releases. But I do appreciate a nice release too. I have tons of them. So yeah, Spider Labyrinth at 15. Number 14 is another one from this Arrow Western set. This one's $10,000 Blood Money. This is the two lead actors here, this guy and this guy. They're in another one together coming up in this Battle Royal. I don't even know their name. These, like, my spaghetti Western knowledge is literally as little as you could possibly have. Like, I've only seen, other than these 4, probably like another 4. So I don't know a lot about spaghetti Westerns, but in these movies, I'm starting to recognize people from the other ones, though, which is good. In this one, our lead actor here plays Django, the character Django. And basically, it's just another lies and deceit, and there's $10,000 blood money, and everyone's after it. That's what's going on here. Because I watched these all 4 back to back to back. Couple, like, they're bleeding into each other a little bit. I don't want to accidentally give you the description on one of these. That's the description on a different movie. That's why I'm reading them a little bit. But one cool thing I'll do, though, is that they do give you the Italian title as well on reversible art, which is really cool. Tons of special features. Quite phenomenal, actually, if you want to, like, learn a lot. There's tons of special features. I love these Arrow Video 4 packs that they release. I have a ton of them, and I need to start watching them all. This one, it doesn't really give you a whole lot of describing on the back. There's a price on a guy's head, and everybody's after it, and they're trying to take him down, and there's twists and turns and screw jobs and all the typical Western stuff that you'd ask for. But great acting from these two leads. They probably did a ton of movies together, and I'm just stupid and don't know. But I will know. I'm just getting started on this genre. This was a 3 again. And then, next up at number 13, I have the third elimination from that box set. This is jumping up to a 3.5. This one's called Find a Place to Die. This one was more memorable. This one, a girl and a guy are basically like robbers. They robbed a bunch of money. And then the guy gets stuck at the beginning. This is the very beginning of the movie. The guy gets stuck in like a carriage crash in between. He's basically in between a rock and a hard place, we'll say. And he's stuck. So his wife goes to the local town to find a bunch of guys to come help him get out before he dies. And when she gets to this town, it's just a corrupt, shitty town where you don't want to be there. Everyone's a piece of shit. Everyone's garbage, basically. But she recruits this nice guy, played by Jeffrey Hunter, who's, I'm not familiar, but it says he's from one of the most highly acclaimed Westerns of all time, The Searchers, with John Wayne. It says he's from there. And he says he's a disgraced former army officer. He's the nice guy, basically, and he's trying to get her to it without being raped and murdered and killed by all these other bandits. And it's a decent story in that direction of like just shitty people trying to do shitty things to each other. But I enjoyed the acting here. The actress was really good. Her name, Lisa Martin. It's cool. It's cool. I can't give you huge descriptions on these because my knowledge just isn't that good. And I don't want to say things that are incorrect. So I'll just give you my general thoughts. It's a 3.5. This is a really solid spaghetti western. Glad I seen it. I need to give all 4 of these another watch in the future. They might even go up higher. Who knows? But for now, it's sitting at 13. Number 12 is a Scream Factory release. This is Thinner. From 96. Pretty sure this is 96. It's got that, but pretty sure this doesn't have reversible art, which is one of my damn pet peeves. It has art, but no name on the spine and stuff. It's one of my pet peeves. Like, why give me a damn slipcover if it's just the same art on the inside? It bugs me. Change it so that both look different. But yeah, anyone that's seen Thinner, it's just some corrupt dudes that wrong some gypsies, and the gypsies put a curse on them, and his is to just keep losing weight until you're dead. And it's not happy. It's an unpleasant movie. It's kind of gross at times. And it's basically just a revenge film, but you don't know whose side you're on, really. Because they're all shitty people. So it's hard. But there's a lot of good moments where he goes and tries to get the gypsies to lift the curse off of them, and confrontational moments, and sad towards the later half. And then it has a messed up ending. Kind of fucked up. If you haven't seen Thinner, grab it. I'm lucky though, I ordered this like months and months after it came out from Scream Factory, and it still had the slipcover, so that means I'm lucky. It also means not a lot of people bought it. So that's based on a Stephen King story. Check it out. Now, number 11. What do we got here? I'm eliminating Harold and Kumar Escape from Guantanamo Bay. This I used to find hilarious. Like, this used to be like 4.5. It's a 3.5 again. But it dropped for me on this viewing. Like, I just found some of the jokes a little too just childish. Like, fart jokes. Stuff that doesn't click with me anymore, I guess. And when I did, when I first watched it, it did. So I used to think this movie was absolutely awesome. And it dropped down to a 3.5. Which is still solid. Neil Patrick Harris, his cameos in this trilogy of movies is always good, and in this one, he pulls up to them when they're just randomly, like he's just driving down the road randomly, and they get in the car with him, and it's Neil Patrick Harris, and he always plays like an insanely perverted straight man, even though he's gay in real life. He does that role so perfectly. It's like How I Met Your Mother. But in this, he's just a pervert, druggy, drunk. But they get in the car with him, and he's like eating shrooms. He's driving. He's chugging Jack Daniels. And there's just a sequence where they go to a whorehouse that's really funny. And there's a lot of moments in this that are funny. But then there's a lot of just really cheesy moments where I'm just like, ah. But I mean, it's got cock meat sandwiches. Enough said. If you haven't seen Harold and Kumar, Guantanamo Bay, check it out. You might like it even more than me. Has pretty good soundtrack as well. Now we're gonna crack my top 10 here. This is a doozy. This is a tough top 10. Right in 10th place, I put Pearl. I think the style that Ty West does here, his camera work is always A+. Like, he nails the setting in all of his movies, where it just really feels like that era. And I love that. I think he does that awesome. And Mia Goth in this movie is phenomenal. Like, she delivers a monologue, a long one. Like, a section where she just talks directly into the camera, basically. And it's a long one. And she nails it. It's really convincing and brutal. And the problem I have with this entire trilogy, it's not much of a problem. Like, this is a 3.5 again for me. But I just feel like none of the characters are very likable. Like, I feel like they're all shitty people, so there's no one to really root for. I don't care. But with that said, this one is a must-see. Like, we're in 3.5 territory, so it's a must-see. But I like Dex better. As you can see, it's still in the root. But if you haven't seen this trilogy, you should definitely pick it up and watch all 3 of them. Like Pearl, it's not everyone's favorite, but then it is some people's favorite. So it's all over the place. Same with Maxine, which I didn't include in this, because I've only seen that once, and I was doing other things while watching it, so I didn't get a proper viewing of it. So I'll watch that one again before I put it into one of these. Have it permanently ranked. I won't talk on Pearl long, because I know that Sam from Our Life in Horror absolutely can't stand Mia Goth. And this movie is just a Mia Goth show. Like, she's the star. Up at 9 here, we have from Kino Cult, This is Squirm. This is number 13 in the Kino Cult line. So like I said, I'm trying to watch through all of these I have. I believe that I'm only missing 3 of them now out of 25 that have been released, and then they've announced a couple more too. So I have like 22 from the Kino Cult line. And I'm not watching them in order. I'm just watching whatever ones I feel like. And the cover of this alone sold me. Like, look at that fucking art. That's insane. Then you got your classic stuff underneath here. And this was a 3.5. This one actually kind of shocked me. It might be the best one I've watched from the line yet. Killer Worms. Basically, it takes place in a farm, mostly on a farm, in a small town. And this guy ends up losing 100,000 worms. And they end up just being savage, bitey ass, crawl right under your skin worms. And there's a couple scenes in this movie that are really cringy. Excellent special effects for the 70s. Like, this came out in, 76. And great special effects. And I like all the acting here. Like, it's all really well done. Like, this one really surprised me. But this guy here, he gets worms in his face, and he doesn't die. So the worms are all still in his face throughout the movie. And it's pretty disturbing. Like, there's some moments where I was just like, ew, that's gross. And then they do close-ups on worms' mouths, and you can see their little pincher teeth. And like a lot of these animal horror movies out of the 70s, it does a lot of, like, just showing you the animals, and then they do stuff with it. But there's some scenes in the second half of this movie where the worms are like giant piles, and they're just sucking people into the pile of worms, and they're just disappearing into the giant pile of worms like quicksand, basically. Creepy shit there. Like, the idea of killer worms alone, I think that's just, it's the only one I've ever seen other than Tremors. But this is like, Tremors must have taken a little cue from this movie and just added extra to it. But yeah, if you haven't seen this, this is the first one in this line that I've covered so far in my Battle Royals where I'm like, this is an absolute must grab. Everything about it's awesome. The cover arts, the art underneath, the movie itself is solid. Like, there's nothing not to like about this release. So that gets me excited for future watches of my Kino Cult line. Next up here at number 8, I'm eliminating from Vestron Video, Chopping Mall. This is number 1 in the line as well. Still available, I believe. I don't know if the slipcover is still available, but the movie itself is. It's not terribly hard to get your hands on. 1986, this one stars Barbara Crampton and a couple other familiar faces from the 80s that I can never remember their damn names. The girl from Night of the Comet, I can never remember her name. God, that annoys me. But yeah, this is a cool one too, another 3.5 for me. This one I've seen multiple times in my life, and it's not what you think. Like, this cover makes it feel like you're probably getting in for like a slasher that takes place in a mall or something. But that's not what it is at all. It's almost sci-fi. A mall hires a bunch of robotic security guards. And they're like giant robot machines. Look like they're straight from like RoboCop. And a bunch of teenagers break into the mall at night just to have sex and party. And it's a terrible decision because these robots go on a rampage, but not really. They're just trying to keep the mall secure. It's just another one of these robots are scary kind of things. Trends of the 80s. But it's done well. Like, so every time a robot kills somebody, it drops a one-liner. Like, it's kind of fucked up. It's funny. Some of the kills are awesome. It's just fun. Like, it's just a fun movie. You can throw it on and enjoy it. But there's not much to say. Like, there's nudity, there's sex, there's partying, and then there's these giant robots rolling around the mall, whacking these teenagers off one by one. That's what you're getting. Nothing more, basically. And then, next up at number 7, we have The Elimination, the final movie in this box set here. This one is Vengeance is Mine. And this stars those same two guys from $10,000 Blood Money. Gianni Garco, or Gianni Garco is one of their names. And this one, they're brothers. And this one is a 4 for me. This one actually was really good. This is an absolute must-watch. Highly recommend. This one, the brother, it shows two younger guys in their, like, teens to early 20s, probably. And the one son leaves his farm, and he's just leaving. And the father goes after him. And the other son is just he's like chasing him. You don't really know why. And he shoots his dad in the back and kills him. Just because he's going to get the brother to come back to the farm. And it just seems like he's basically just a jealous sibling that wants everything to himself, basically. And he makes terrible mistakes. And then it cuts to years later. And the older brother, sorry, I've missed this part. The older brother comes riding back to see if his father's okay. And then a bunch of sheriffs and stuff and deputies show up and arrest him for the murder because the brother starts blaming him and saying he killed my father. So he goes to jail for 10 years. So then it cuts to him getting out of jail. And basically he's just going to go on a revenge to kill his brother because of what his brother did to him. Ruined his life, basically. And he finds out that his mother has passed away, and she left him a letter, the older brother. And the letter said to please find your younger brother and make amends with him. Please don't hold a grudge and everything. So he ends up finding his younger brother, and he's a mess. He's a scam artist and a drunk and a man whore, and his life is shit, basically. And then he takes his brother, and he's gonna bring him to collect the bounty because he's not gonna kill his brother. And that's what this story is. It's just a brother versus brother, like, really intense moments, and you want the older brother to just put a bullet in this asshole's head, but at the same time you kind of feel for him, and it leads to a tear-jerky, pretty solid freaking ending that I was just really shocked with this one. This one was one that just kept my attention right from the beginning to the end. It didn't have any moments where I felt like I needed to lift my iPad up and look at something to kill time. Just really good. Makes this whole box set worth the purchase, to be honest. Like, the box set is worth the purchase anyway. We got a 4 from me, a 3.5, and a 3 and a 2.5. So 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, all in a row. Solid shit. Pick it up if it's still available. This is volume 2 from Arrow. So I guess I can put these back in now that I'm done. This one was volume 2. I don't even have volume 1, and I think it's out of print. So if I wanted to get my hands on it, it would cost a fortune. Which sucks. Because I'd like to see what movies are in that one now that I've seen this one. And then volume 3 is available as well. But yeah, check that box set out. Worthy addition to any collection. Really nice too. Like, I like the way that it's stained. Like, it just looks dirty. And it's made to it look like that. It's not me. It's actually made to look dirty and just grungy, because that's what these movies are. All 4 of them in this box set are very just dirty ass movies. Alright, We're cracking my top. What do I got here? Am I missing something? What the heck's going on here? I am missing one. And I'm not happy about it. So, hold that thought. I need to go grab one. Because this movie is in my top 5. And I forgot to put it in this because it's in my daughter's bedroom. Because she borrowed it last night and she's watching it. So, I will be back in a second. I am grabbing this movie because I want to show it. Alright. So sorry for that frickin' botch. But I had to grab this. I forgot that she took it out of my pile here. But this is Paranorman. This one's entering. It's in my top 5, so we have a surprise entrant. It's almost becoming real wrestling match at this point. Surprise entrant! Coming down the aisle. Sneak attack. But yeah, that's in my top. So I'm going to eliminate my number 6, and make it to my top 5. And at number 6 is X. Solid slasher here. This is a 4 again for me. Brittany Snow, Mia Goth, Jenna Ortega. What's the rapper's name? Oh, fuck, I can't remember his name. Jeez. How am I blanking on his name? I used to, like, listen to him all the time. Wasn't prepped for this movie because I forgot about it because it wasn't in my damn pile here. It's Kid Cudi. It's solid. This is like, if you haven't seen it, this is the beginning of Ty West's trilogy. And I'm pretty sure anybody that would be watching my Battle Royals here have probably seen X. But I'll give you a quick little sum-up description. It's a porn crew that films porno movies. And they rent a place on a farm and to shoot their films. And they ended up just renting on the wrong farm, basically. And there's some pretty graphic sex scenes in this movie with Kid Cudi and Brittany Snow. But everyone does an excellent acting job. It's top-notch, high quality. This is a 4 out of 5 slasher for me, that's high. And the kills are all really awesome. The killers are really good. And there's some really uncomfortable ass moments with Pearl. So I'm trying to not say things, because if you haven't seen the whole trilogy, they go together. So I don't want to ruin characters from other movies. So if you haven't seen X, just pick this trilogy up and watch it. Now, I'm officially moving to my top 5. That botch will never happen again. It's freaking drives me nuts. That's what happens when you have so many freaking movies. People come in and, I'm going to watch that. And they take it. And then I don't even notice. Anyways, at number 5, I'm eliminating the Steven Spielberg movie, Minority Report, starring Tom Cruise and a whole bunch of people. Colin Farrell. Oh, shit. There's so many people in this. Samantha Morton is awesome. Max von Sydow is good, obviously. He's always good. But yeah, Steven's directed by Spielberg. This movie is like kind of a warning. It came out in like 2002. Yeah, 2002. It's kind of like a warning to the future about technology. It's just like a technology might invade your privacy in the future, because the government has a team of people in this that they have these sci-fi people that have like what do you call, like, superpowers. I'll just say superpowers, and they can see the future. So they have these three people that are just like in these chambers for their entire lives, and the government uses them to siphon thoughts out of their heads, and they can see future crimes. So they arrest people for crimes they're going to commit one day. So it's like, it's a ridiculous concept. And but not so ridiculous now that we're in modern times. 23 years after this movie came out, it doesn't feel that far off, to be honest. And Tom Cruise is the head of the police force that is tasked to actually arrest these people, and then all of a sudden it spits his name out of the machine, and he's going to be committing a horrendous crime. So he escapes, and so the rest of the movie, the company's after him, and it becomes like there's a conspiracy going on here, and it really shows you whether or not it's a good thing or bad thing. But then there's two major storyline twists in the final act. This is another 4 from me, 4 out of 5. And I'm not going to say anything more than that. That's a pretty good sum up of the story. And it's just got some great scenes. It's got an awesome action scene where Tom Cruise has to remove his own eyeballs. And there's some pretty fucked up shit. It's cool. Really cool movie. Needs to be seen. If you haven't seen it, definitely. For all of these top ones, if you haven't seen them, check them out. And then next up at number 4, I'm eliminating Dario Argento's Tenebrae. This was a first time watch. This is a 4 again. This is from Synapse Films. I just picked this up. I do know that this comes with an awesome, just the Blu-ray, that you can get this movie in like a beautiful thick box 4K with tons of special features. But that wasn't available for me to get here in Canada. It's been sold out. It's out of print. And if I wanted it, I'd be paying like $150. And I was like, $150 or $25 for this. So I just picked this up for $25. And I'm glad I did, because it's solid giallo slasher movie. Anybody that knows the giallo genre knows that they're all like whodunit murder mysteries. You're just kind of guessing, and it's giving you a little bit of clues as the movie's going on, and they're all done with beautiful color work. There's some all the kills in this movie are highlights. They're very vicious and violent and brutal, and they're kind of the highlight of this entire film. There's one in the final act where it's just spraying blood. Like, this woman gets her frickin' throat sliced and cut and stabbed and shit, and she's just moving around the room screaming, and blood spraying on everything and just coloring the room red artistically. It's just wild how well it's shot. And honestly, seeing how beautiful some of the scenes were, when I say beautiful, like gory beautiful, nasty, it made me wonder what it looked like in 4K. So I'm like, fuck. But if that box set ever comes available, I'll probably pick it up. But yeah, if you haven't seen a giallo movie in general, this is a pretty good place to start, I think. Like, if you've never seen one before, this would be a solid place, because this is pretty good shit. It has a couple storyline twists and stuff I don't need to reveal, obviously, because it's a whodunit. So yeah, 4th place. Now my top 3, we have Paranorman, which is gonna have a hard time sitting up because it's fucking we have Nosferatu, and we have High Plains Drifter getting eliminated in third place. Excellent. This is 4 to 4.5 territory. Just excellent. This is one of the best westerns I've seen, like, in years and years. It's possibly one of the best westerns I've ever seen. Because western isn't a huge genre for me. I haven't seen a lot of them. So, so far, this is one of the best westerns I've ever seen. Just a brutal freaking story. Brutal everything. Like, it's just not comfortable. There's moments in it where I don't even know what the heck is happening. Like, Clint Eastwood rides into this town, and you don't know. It's just your typical starting point like that, where Clint Eastwood's riding into a town. You know, something's going down. And it starts with him, this girl coming up and, like, hitting on him a little bit. And he's just like, why beat around the bush, bitch? And then he grabs her, drags her into a barn, and proceeds to rape her. And it's so weird, because it's right at the beginning of the movie, and I'm thinking, like, Clint Eastwood, the fucking villain in this movie? Like, this is insanity. And then it slowly starts piecing the story together, and what's happened in this town, and why Eastwood's there. And I'm not going to reveal anything, because this is a must-see Western. And it just slowly starts piecing it together, and you're just like, it's crazy. It's really good. And then it leads to some awesome gunfight action scenes, and just a cool, intense moments. Like, there's a moment where Clint Eastwood's just in a barber shop getting shaved, and there's just intensity. Really good build-up. I thought this was excellent. 4 to 4.5 territory. Now, to determine what takes my number 1 spot, I'm going to have to give this to the newest movie that I've done in any of my battle royals. So, Paranorman is getting eliminated in second place for this episode. Beautiful 4K here. This is by Leica Studios again, the same company that did Coraline. Beautiful packaging again. 4K, Blu-ray, booklet, unbelievable artwork on the 4K collector's edition here. Absolute must grab. This is a 4.5 again, right there with High Plains Drifter. This is probably more of a 4.5 for me. Excellent storyline here. Great voiceover work, but the storyline is just classic Salem witch trial stuff. Like, Paranorman is a boy that can see ghosts and dead people, and everybody in the town thinks he's a freaking freak, basically. And he slowly starts seeing things that he shouldn't be, basically. And a storyline of a witch that was sacrificed however many years ago, 100 years ago or whatever, he starts to piece the story together, and zombies start rising up from the dead, and this town is just going berserk, and all kinds of supernatural shit is happening in it. And it's mixed with beautiful picture, beautiful sound, great characters, awesome character building, great heartfelt moments, great comedy. Just a solid fucking animated kids movie. This is like one of those movies where it's just another perfect introductory to horror movies for kids. It's one that little kids would be scared, because there is some scary moments. And then it's got an excellent storyline with the little girl witch, and why he can see dead people, and twists. It's got twists. It's got everything. Just solid shit. If you haven't seen Paranorman, pick it up. What better way than this beautiful 4K? And then my winner, taking my number 9th place in my King of the Ring tournament, this is the new Nosferatu that came out on Christmas of last year, so it's just like 4 months old. I'm pretty sure, yes, this is the newest movie I've done in any Battle Royal so far. This is the 4K Blu-ray, just the standard edition. Would have liked some reversible art again. Don't get that, which is irritating. This is the absolute perfect gothic romance movie. Like, it's just done so damn well. Robert Eggers, the frickin' work that he puts into just making his films seem so authentic, blows my mind every time he puts a damn movie out. I think he's one of the best directors working today. He's like top 5 working directors for me. His other movies, they'll all be coming up in future episodes, because he's got a solid resume going. Can't wait to see what he does next all the time. But now for my opinions on Nosferatu. This is a 5 out of 5. May not be for everybody, but anybody that's seen the classic Nosferatu from 1922, anybody that's seen the 1979 Nosferatu the Vampire starring Klaus Kinski, this movie does such a perfect job at paying homage to both of those movies, while at the same time being its own thing. Is phenomenal work. The acting here, I think that Skarsgård should have been nominated for a fucking Oscar for his performance as Count Orlok here, because what he does to his voice, just everything. He's so damn memorable. I've watched this twice now, and I liked it just as much the second time as I did the first time. Appreciated some of the other stuff that I didn't notice the first time. This movie has so many scenes that could be freeze framed and put as pictures on your wall. Just beauty. One of the most beautiful moments in the whole movie, I think, is when what's his name? The Nicholas Holt's character is walking down he's on his way to Count Orlok's castle, and it's the scene where the horse and carriage, is about to pick him up, and he's walking down just what is the most beautiful road with trees and snowfall falling that I think I've ever seen in a movie. Fucking phenomenal shit. And then Orlok himself is just... I know a lot of people are complaining about the mustache, but here's the thing. Eggers just made him look like what the real person would have looked like from the book. So whether or not you like it or not, that's what he should look like. From what I've heard, that's what the character should look like. So I enjoy it. I respect it that he's tried to make it different as well, so we don't just have the same looking Nosferatu that we've seen in 2 other movies again. And honestly, where do I even start? Like, I went into this thinking that Aaron Taylor Johnson would be terrible in this movie, because I didn't know that he was a prestigious actor. I figured he was just kind of like... I haven't seen him in a ton, but I just thought that he was more of like a pop star style actor, where he's just going to be doing like sexy roles and rom-coms and stuff. But he nails it in this. You feel for him so bad, especially in the final act of the movie. Like, it's just disturbing. But I love what they do with all the rats. Nosferatu just brings the plague. And it's so good. I don't even know. Like, when I watched it the second time, I was trying to find reasons to not like it, to not give it a 5-star. Because my list of 5-star movies, they have to be, in my opinion, perfect. They have to hit every single category. If they disappoint me in any sense of the word, they usually aren't going to be a 5-star. They're going to get a 4.5. So it has to be what I consider to be just the perfect movies. And to fans of vampire movies, to fans of gothic movies, from the 70s or any era, for fans of just intense, solid acting. What's not to love here? Lily Rose Depp, I know a lot of people, their complaint was that they would have rather have seen Anya Taylor-Joy in the role. I disagree. I think that she nails it. Like, some of her body contortions and the facial things that she's doing here and her old English style acting is solid. Solid shit. I don't think he could have got much better in that role. I think she should have been nominated as well for supporting actress at the Oscars. I think it's a snub job. I would go to as far to say that Demi Moore from The Substance, I think if you're nominating her to squeeze in horror into the Oscars, that Lily Rose Depp and Skarsgård should have been squeezed in too. Because that's a different argument and controversial. But yeah, freaking love it. I will probably watch this movie a dozen more times and just look forward to his next one. I'm not sure what he's doing next. I haven't looked into it, but hopefully it's something down my alley, and if it isn't, I'm guessing I'll probably love it anyway, just because by historically accurate he tries to make everything. Like, all the lighting scenes, just like in his previous films, it's all lit by actual natural light or candlelight, which is phenomenal shit there. Like, everything is done so well. The score is intense and brutal, but just a presence of a movie. Can't wait to see what he does going forward. Pretty brutal Battle Royal, but I knew Nosferatu was going to be my number one of this episode because it's my only 5 of the episode. That's the first starter. And anyone that knows me would probably know that as I'm holding these movies up, which one would be my number one. Some of them might be questionable. Like, Paranorman came close, but the masterwork of Nosferatu just edges it into first. So it's hard. But thank you for joining me for round 9. Sorry I had a couple botch moments in this one, and I'll make sure that never happens again. And I can't wait to do up my next one. I'm already pretty much finished watching the 20 movies for it, so I will get this one out even quicker, probably tomorrow night. So thank you, and I will see you for round 10.